At the sight of papers of all sorts, titles, contracts, parchments, which were kept in the archives of the family, all descending from the poisoned cardinal, I, in my turn, examined the immense bundles of documents, like 20 servitors, stewards, secretaries before me. But, in spite of the most exhaustive researches, I found nothing. Yet I had even written a precise history of the Borgia family, for the sole purpose of assuring myself whether any increase of fortune had occurred to them on the death of Cardinal Caesar Spada, but could only trace the acquisition of the property of the Cardinal Rospigliosi, his companion in misfortune. I was then almost assured that the inheritance had neither profited the Borgias nor the family, but had remained unpossessed like the treasures of the Arabian Nights, which slept in the bosom of the earth under the eyes of the genie. I searched, ransacked, counted, calculated 1,000 times the income and expenditure of the family for 300 years. It was useless. I remained in my ignorance, and the Count of Spada in his poverty. My patron died. He had reserved from his annuity his family papers, his library, composed of 5,000 volumes, and his famous breviary. All these he bequeathed to me, with 1,000 Roman crowns, which he had in ready money, on condition that I would have anniversary masses for the repose of his soul, and that I would draw up a genealogical tree and a history of his house. All this I did scrupulously. Be easy, my dear Edmund, we are near the conclusion. In 1807, a month before I was arrested, and a fortnight after the death of the Count of Spada, on the 25th of December, you will see presently how the date became fixed in my memory, I was reading for the 1,000th time the papers I was arranging, for the palace was sold to a stranger, and I was going to leave for Rome and settle at Florence, intending to take with me 12,000 francs I possessed, my library, and the famous breviary, when, tired with my constant labor at the same thing, and overcome by a heavy dinner I had eaten, my head dropped on my hands, and I fell asleep about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Can I just take a second to acknowledge the inconsistency in my performance here? I have attempted, let's say, a creative flourish in Faria. When he is actually telling the story, I am taking away his exhausted manner from his attack. I figured you probably don't want days and days and days and days of this when you listen to the show. So, he's in his head. He's telling it from the mental position of youth, when he had the energy to pursue this sort of thing to the degree in which he's pursuing it. It was a creative choice. It's what I'm doing, and we all have to live with it. So, we're almost done with the chapter. Bear with me, is all I'm saying. But what is Faria saying? Faria is saying that upon the death of the Spada that employed him, there was no one else left in the family. And so he was tasked with creating a genealogical tree and anniversary seances. He didn't say seances, but what a fun thing that would be. Basically just remembrances of the Spada family and the Spada specifically that employed him, but he set out to figure out what happened to this fortune. Okay, so all of my confusion over the last couple episodes hasn't been in vain. Faria was also very confused as to what happened to this thing, and he traces back the income for 300 years. Can you imagine having to keep 300 years of receipts for the IRS if you got audited? No wonder Faria is portrayed as this genius doing calculations on the floor of his cell with a, plastered chalk that he made. I can't imagine anyone having the patience to go through 300 years of expense reports just to figure out where this money... Follow the money. That is what Faria is doing here to try to find the treasure. On some level, I'm glad Dumas didn't decide to write the treasure hunt story from that perspective. I'm sure it would make a fascinating book all on its own. Not exactly what I'm looking for in this story specifically, but can you imagine reading a treasure hunt story not with a Dirk Pitt type of Clive Cussler character going out, into desert adventures to find hidden gold, but like someone trying to figure out where just generational wealth went by doing a treasure hunt through the margins of account books. I don't know that it's been done before. That's all I'm saying. And would I watch, a 5-part miniseries on HBO of that? Maybe. Maybe I would. Set it during the age of the Medici, and you got yourself a viewer. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. We are coming to the conclusion of this story, though, and I have to imagine that in order to really convey the reality of this treasure to Dante, Faria is going to reveal what happened to it. And, oh my god, I completely forgot about that half sheet of paper that Dante read earlier in the chapter. So we're going to have to know what that means, right? He said he filled out and figured out what the other half of that said. That's why we are telling the story within the story to begin with. Oh my god, things are coming together. I shouldn't take breaks between recording sessions. Okay, I've got the juice. Let's do one more episode and figure out where all this is going. Join me here tomorrow as we barrel toward the end of chapter 18 and the discovery of what happened to this treasure. You know where to find me. Right here again tomorrow morning. Okay. 2:21. I awoke as the clock was striking 6. I raised my head. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.